I had such a great reaction to the video of me interviewing Elton John back in 1989, I thought I'd show you one we did even earlier than that, in 1986, 21 years ago. We've been friends for 40 years now, and I'd like you to decide which is the most outrageous old queen as you watch me talking to Elton in Entertainment USA in Maui, Hawaii, 21 years ago.
Every touring star stops in Hawaii on their way to Australia. All work, of course. One old mate who I've never officially interviewed is Elton John. Like some Arab potentate, he's taking his entire entourage, band, wives, technicians and all, to Maui for a brief holiday next year. I asked Elton what he thought were the differences between Britain and the States, where evangelist preacher Pat Robertson has declared he's running for president.
Well, they're god mad over here, aren't they? I mean, it's absolutely frightening. I mean, like, God did this touchdown, God made this jacket, God cooked this dinner, you know, it's America's great. People are so generous, you know that. They're the most generous people in the world. The only frightening thing is that you get people like Robertson, people like that, running for presidency, and the most frightening thing is he can even get in, you know. That's the only difference I find. It's just...
But you've never really fallen foul of the sort of God lot,
Oh, yes, I have. When I was on my last tour in Washington, they burnt my records, I don't know, evil records, but they were burning Dean Martin records. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. They were bloody awful records. But I mean, I don't know why he got lumped in with me, you know. It's sort of like, I can see the old bisexual statement coming up, the wrath of God. And in fact, our touring set at the moment, we've got these huge cones, and they look like enormous Ku Klux Klan hats. They're aluminum. So we were playing Memphis the other night, and I thought, this is not good. This is not good. We've dispensed with them because, you know, I don't want people sort of lumbering me with that because that's exactly what they look like.
Well,
Sharon goes Ku Klux.
Yes, but you've now got married. You're mixing with royalty. I mean, have you gone respectable?
Mixing or mincing?
Well, have you gone respectable on us?
No, I don't think. Does it look it? I mean, again, does it look? That's my stock answer. Does it look like it? No, I don't think so. I mean, I've got a badge upstairs, which I thought would be very good for you and I. It says, I refuse to grow up. I am respectable when the time needs to be. At Watford, I would never, ever dream of turning up like this with a pink ponytail. Hi, viewers. Because it wouldn't go that way. But I mean, as far as my own outlook on life, I've always had, since my teenage years when I was suppressed as a teenager, and I lived my life in my 20s, and everyone said, you can't do that, and I thought, yes, I can. No, I should always, that's part, but I don't do it to be outrageous or anything. I just do it because I like it. I mean, one year I made the top 10 best dressed men and the top 10 worst dressed women the same year by that dreadful Mr. Blackwell. You know that? I mean, whose only talent is for owning the most hideous things in the world and putting them into a house.
We were saying earlier, you feel very sorry for teenagers at the moment, that they can't really be as outrageous as we were and have as much fun as we could when we were teenagers. Or is that just us getting old?
That's a fallacy. No, we were talking about... actually, what we were talking about was the AIDS scene, about gay people who are younger, and how it, you know, how frightening it must be for them to come out anyway. It's always a terrible torment for gay people to come out. But for gay kids, it missed me like doubly. I mean, it's just awful. I'm very committed to the AIDS thing. If I'm going to do charity things, I would try and concentrate on doing things like that. But I think, oh, come on, I mean, on stage, what happened with, I mean, I'm wearing these mohawk wigs. If I'd have been popular in the punk era, you'd have had to take me around by furniture lorry, because I'd have had I grew up with doing those huge hideous platform shoes, and I had the odd pink hair until Vidal Sassoon did it, and it all fell out. Leave that one in at my peril. Shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, just shine the light. If you're British, you can get away with it, though, because you're British, because they like British. But if Americans try and do it, it's kind of like, you know, they've never really been successful at producing a visual act, have they, really? Apart from Prince, who's not that outrageous. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the British can go because it's their eccentricity. And in Britain, of course, you can walk in most places and people don't. It's like the ultimate thing with these mohawk wigs and stuff that I'm wearing now, which are great fun. The higher, the better. I mean, they're about 2 foot high or 1'6" high now, and they're going to get larger. I mean, as I say, I shall end up like Mrs. Schilling, but with a wig version, right? And Sharon Schilling will present tonight on stage. I saw this guy walking down the street in the Cromwell Road, and I'm sure it was one of Zig Zig Sputnik. And what's happened, they've sort of like died the death over here, and I sort of ripped them off, which is kind of an irony, isn't it?
Yes. It's keep advancing,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
don't be
yeah.
mutton dressed as lamb, isn't it? That's the trick.
Are you trying to tell me something? Sitting here like Jar Jar Gabor, right?
Yes,
Darling,
Gabor
my
sisters.
darling. Yes.
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 What about movies? You think you're getting into movies?
Well, unless they... this is funny. I mean, the first movie I was ever offered when I first came to America in 1970, my career was just starting, was Harold and Maude. They offered me the lead in Harold and Maude, which is one of the greatest movies of all time, right? And the best script. Since then, apart from Tom, it's been really downhill all the way. It's usually like two rock stars in their own Learjets. I mean, it's a nightmare. And so,
But if there was another good one offered to you?
well, Godley and Cream did say to me that they said, we don't know how to quite to ask you this, but he said, we just bought the rights to the Billy Bunt. Oh, no. And they said, please don't be offended. And I said, not on. I think I'd love to.
Well, if you like, I can
went into my
record.
caravan and cried my eyes out.
I think you'd be a good Billy Bunt.
I would. That's the trouble. No, thank you.
Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom. I love you, love you, love. Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom. Love you, love you, love. Yes, I do. Philadelphia freedom. I love you, yes, I do.
Elton and I had a lot of gossip to catch up on, and we'll be bringing you some more of our tacky conversation in a couple of weeks. You can get some wonderful souvenirs here in Maui. For instance, here I am with a few friends and a little plastic shark that you can nip your pals in the bud with. And who would be in Maui without a lei? There's the standard, beautiful flower lei, made out of plastic, of course. There's the happy lei, if you happen to be rather more free-minded. This appears to be made out of marijuana leaves. I think they're plastic too, but you can always grow it and find out. There is the aloha lei. Isn't that lovely? Made out of paper, actually, but still looks terribly nice. If you're a golfer, of course, there is the tea time lei. Tea, get it? I feel like I'm being eaten by a tractor. And if you're a tennis fan, there is the ultimate lei. A lei made out of old balls. We'll leave you with a shot of Maui at its most beautiful. See you next week.
I enjoyed making that series. Went on for almost 10 years. More later. If you're interested, just let me know.